A very good o'clock, dear students. Here I am Nikita, I'm your geography teacher. Students, so far we have discussed about two major geological formations of India. One of them were the Himalayas, and second we discussed yesterday was the Great North Indian Plains or the Indus Ganga Brahmaputra Plains. Okay, so we studied about the divisions of the plain, which were like Bhabar, Tarai, Khadar, Bhangar, okay, and more many others. So today we are going to study about a regional divisions of the plain. Okay, regional divisions refer to division according to the area. Okay, that was division according to the characteristics which we studied yesterday. But today we are going to discuss about the regional divisions, means lying in a specific area. Okay, so the first division is the Rajasthan plain or the Great Indian Desert. Okay, that is a part of the Indus Ganga Brahmaputra plain, because do not forget that Indus river flows from Pakistan to India, okay, from west to east. Okay, so that part of west or the extension of the Indian desert, that is the Sindh plain in Pakistan, is also considered as an area of the Indus Ganga Brahmaputra plain. Okay, so this deserty area lies mainly between the Aravalli range in the east and alluvial plain of the Indus in the west. Okay, so from Aravalli range in the east and to the Aravalli range lies in the Rajasthan and alluvial plain of Indus in the west, that is in Pakistan. For most part, this desert lies in Rajasthan. Basically, we all are aware about that. And lowland of sandy waste, it's obviously desert, so sandy waste all over there, and by sandy ridges and sand dunes. Okay, what are ridges? Ridges are like the range of, you can say, a peak. Okay, and sand dunes, obviously already known that small hills of sand. Okay, so the mean height varies from 8 meter in Jaipur to and Sikar to 30 meter in Barmer. Okay, this is the height of the sand dunes which are formed there. Okay, some of them are greatly 5 to 10 kilometer long. So this vast desert is an undulating plain whose average elevation is about 325 meters near the Aravalli range, because Aravalli range obviously is a mountain range. Okay, and it descends to less than, not mountain, we can say it a hills range. Okay, because we studied that the mountains which are less than 600 meters in height are known as hills. Okay, so that is a hilly area, and it reduces to 150 meter near the Indo-Pak border. Okay, it slopes down in the southwest direction and merges with the Sindh plain in Pakistan. Okay, so that all over the Great Indian Desert, which we call, does not limits to the India only. Okay, so that desert extends up to the Sindh plain in the Pakistan. Okay, Sindh means Indus plains. Okay, next is there are some perennial river. As there is a shortage of rainfall, it receives hardly 25 centimeter rainfalls per year. Okay, and so there are no vegetation, but some perennial rivers are there. Perennial, not perennial, seasonal streams are there near the Aravalli range. Okay, seasonal streams, in which the most important through the whole desert area is the Luni river. Okay, north of the Luni basin, there is a large area of inland drainage. Inland drainage means where the rivers do not meet any other source. Okay, drainage का मतलब होता है जहाँ पे rivers बहकर मिलती हैं. Okay, like in the seas and oceans. But inland drainage means where the rivers do drain their water in the inside area only. Okay, they do not get merged with any other water body. Okay, so they comprise a great source of common salt. These lakes comprise a great source of common salt because they are all the saline lakes. Okay, important one of them are Sambhar, Didwana, the Digara, the Kachaman, and the Sargol, and the Khatu. Okay, second comes to the Punjab Haryana plain, that is considered as the grain bowl of India. Okay, Punjab and Haryana have vast agricultural land and extensive grain production because of the alluvial plain lying there, and This Punjab plain has been drained by 5 rivers. That is why it is known as Punjab. As we study Doab, what is a Doab? A land lying between 2 rivers. So this Punjab plain is a land lying between 5 rivers. Okay, the Chenab, Ravi, Satluj, Jhelum, and Beas. Okay, these 5 rivers deposit their alluvials in this plain. Okay, and this is formed as a result of alluvial deposits of these 5 plains. Hence, it is known as the Punjab plain, means the land of 5 rivers. Okay. Earlier, its name was the Sapta Sindhu, which was given by the Aryans to it, and it primarily made up of doabs. Okay, it is made up of 4 to 5 doabs. Okay, and combinedly known as Punjab. So from east to west, these doabs are Bist Jalandhar between the Beas and Satluj. Okay, focus on the name. The name is itself formed by the names of the rivers themselves. Okay, Bist means Beas and Satluj. Bari Doab means Beas and Ravi. Okay, then Rechna means Chenab and Ravi and Chenab. Okay, then Chaj, that is Chenab and Jhelum. Okay, next is the Sindh Sagar Doab, means between Jhelum, Chenab, and the Indus. Okay, so these were the important doabs which form this plain of Punjab, Haryana. Okay. The most important things are there. Then this mass of alluvium has been broken by river courses. See, being drained by 5 rivers does not only gives it benefits, but also there are some drawbacks of this, which are that it has carved for themselves broad flood plains of Khadar, flanked by bluff locally known as Dhawa. Okay, means these rivers have formed flood plains also here known as the Khadar, and these are flanked by the bluffs locally known as the Daya. These bluffs, as high as 3 meters or more, have been heavily gullied. What do you mean by a gullied plain? Gullied plain is one where a very deep and wide kind of, you say, finger like projections, or you say a wide kind of drains are formed. Okay, as you see the local drains in our streets, those kind of wide drains are formed, which make a land basically bad land. Okay, wide gaps are formed in the earth. Okay, so this Khadar belt is known as the bet land. Okay, so liable to flooding is agriculturally valuable, although it is liable to flooding, but it's agriculturally valuable. So the northern part of this plain adjoining the Shivalik hills has been intensively eroded by the numerous streams called chos. Okay, the northern part, which is related to the Shivalik ranges, okay, which is connected to the Shivalik ranges, that has been eroded by the streams coming down from the ranges known as the chos. So this led to the enormous gulling. The erosion is particularly noticed in Hoshiarpur district of Punjab. Okay, now coming to the third division, that is the Ganga plain. So Ganga plain covers vast area. Okay, the most extensive areas covered by the Ganga plain. Ganga Brahmaputra plain it can also be called. Okay, the Ganga plain lies in UP, Bihar, and West Bengal. Okay, the deltaic part of this plain is in West Bengal, means the Ganga forms its delta in West Bengal. Okay, what is delta, students? It is a triangular land where the river deposits its sediment at the mouth of it. Okay, डेल्टा वो लैंड होती है जहाँ पे रिवर का माउथ बनता है बिफोर गेटिंग मर्ज्ड इनटू दी ओशन. ओके, ओशन में मर्ज होने से पहले जो रिवर होती है वो अपने सारा जो सेडिमेंट्स बहा कर लाती है उसको एक जगह पर डिपॉजिट कर देती है, जिसे हम माउथ ऑफ द रिवर भी कहते हैं. तो दैट फॉर्म्स अ ट्राइंगुलर एरिया बन जाता है वो, दैट इज़ अ डेल्टा रीजन. ओके, so that deltaic plain lies in the West Bengal. Okay, and Bangladesh. So this plain has been formed by the depositional work of Ganga and its tributaries, namely Yamuna, Gomti, Ghagra, the Gandak, the Kosi, etc. And some rivers which are coming from the peninsular plateau, they also contribute to the formation of this plain. Important ones are the Chambal, the Betwa, Kane and Son. Okay, these all names have been very familiarly heard by us. Okay, so depending upon the geographical variation, this plain is further divided into three divisions. Okay, there are some geographical variations. So this has been divided into three regions, that is Upper Ganga, the Middle Ganga plain and the Lower Ganga plain. The western part of Upper Ganga plain comprises of comparatively higher Ganga Yamuna Doab. Okay. So the alluvial deposits here have a thickness of 1000 to 2000 meters. So the general slope of this Doab is towards the south, but there are many micro slopes. The old Bhangar alluvium of the Doab has flat uplands. Old Bhangar alluvium of the Doab has formed flat uplands which are quite different from the Khadar lowlands of the newer alluvium. Okay, so this is a quite high raised area. Okay, the higher Ganga Yamuna Doab. The intervening slopes with relative variation of 15 to 30 meters relief are locally known as khols. Okay, there are some intervening slopes in between which have a variation of height up to 15 to 30 meters, and these relief features are known as the khols. Another unusual topographic feature of the upper Doab is the Aeolian Bhar, which we have studied yesterday's video. So Bhar also form a belt of the undulating sandy uplands. Okay, these have been formed when these are high raised area I told you around the bank of the river, when they are formed when in the dry season the wind carries and deposit the sands on the bank of the rivers. Okay, so the Bhar ridges have also given rise to the typical Bhar soils in the middle Doab. Okay, the middle Ganga plain is a transitional zone that extends over about of 6000 kilometers in eastern Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So this the middle part of the Ganga plain lies in the Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, that is 600 kilometers, and the lower Ganga plain lies in the West Bengal and Bangladesh. Okay, so the Ganga Brahmaputra delta formation accounts for about 2/3 of this plain. This Ganga Brahmaputra delta formation accounts for about 2/3 of this plain. The Brahmaputra plain is totally towards the Assam state of India. So this is also known as sometimes the Assam plain, and is located in the plain extends for about 640 kilometers from Dhubri to Sadia. Okay, its width varies from 90 to 100 kilometers, and the entire plain have been formed by the Brahmaputra and its tributaries. Okay, the most or the largest delta in the world, that is the Sundarbans delta, has also been formed by the Brahmaputra river in the east. Okay, now significance of the plains. What is the significance? These are the most significant, I can say, or useful geological formations for India. Although they support around half of the population of India and some of the most largest population density areas in India, and it only accounts for 1/4 of the land. Although okay, land portion जो है इस area का, या कह सकते हैं जो area है, that is 1/4 of India, but it supports nearly half of the population of India. Okay, and with its fertile alluvial soil, because the important points are that it has a very fertile alluvial soil, flat surface. Obviously, that is very very important for the settlements nowadays. So most of the people reside in the flat areas. Then slow moving perennial rivers, favorable climate. Slow moving perennial means which are full of water throughout the year. They are known as perennial rivers, and these are also slow moving. This is an advantage, that the rivers are slow moving, though not causing much of the erosion into the land. Okay, and it has a favorable climate. Also, it faces the equatorial climate. The Great Plain of North India is a great significance, and it is home to about half of Indian population. It is the highest population densities are also supported here, which are based on a purely agro-based economy in these areas. Okay. The extensive use of irrigation has made some part of this plain, especially the Punjab, Haryana and western part of Uttar Pradesh, as the granary of India. Granary means a storehouse of grains in India. Okay. because of the irrigation facilities available here. And except the Thar Desert, in all other areas there is a close network of roads and railways, which has led to large scale industrialization and urbanization. So one of the most basic facilities are available here, okay, which makes it a most important uh, geological formation of India. And last, some things are that some many religious places also lie along the bank of the sacred rivers like Ganga and Yamuna. We cannot deny that many important religious cities like Varanasi, Allahabad, okay, Mathura, Agra. These are the some important religious places lie along the rivers of Ganga and Yamuna, which are very dear to Hindus. And also the religions of Buddha and Mahavira, the Bhakti movement, the Sufi movements have flourished on the banks of these rivers. And hence it can be said that this vast plain is the heartthrob of India and constitutes its very soul. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.